Well, hello again. I'm Pastor Jim Galbraith from First Baptist Church in Prince Albert, and I'm going to share some biblical wisdom with you today. Our theme this week is facing crisis, in particular, the current COVID-19 pandemic. Yesterday, I introduced you to Nehemiah, a powerful Jewish man in the Old Testament who was faced with a crisis. The city of Jerusalem lay in ruins, its walls nothing more than scattered rubble around the city. That may not mean a lot to you and I, but to the Jews it was a crisis of gigantic size. To relate, it would be like losing a spouse or a child, or finding out that a loved one has cancer, or, as we all are right now, facing a pandemic out of our control. To face this crisis, the first thing Nehemiah does is pray. And that's what I recommend we do when we face a crisis as well. Prayer sets our hearts right. It gets us off to a good start and opens up the next stage in dealing with a crisis, planning our response. Crisis does not go away on its own. So when we pray, we need to take that time in prayer and start planning a response. For Nehemiah, that meant going to the king and asking for help to restore Jerusalem. It says in verse 4, the king said to me, "What is it that you want?" Chapter 2, verse 4. Then I prayed to the God of heaven, and I answered the king, "If it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in his sight, let him send me to the city in Judah where my ancestors are buried, so I can rebuild it." And he got his answer. And when you pray and plan a response, so too will you. Now, what should that plan be? That's a great question. The answer relies completely on what the crisis is. If you lose a loved one, you want to remember them well. You want to take care of their affairs and learn gradually how to live without them. I've been there when my brother died back in 1998. And I tell you that prayer and planning got me through the time of his death. If you or a loved one is facing illness, you need to seek help. Take care of yourself and your loved one and be ready for a lot of change in your life. I've had cancer, gotten the help I needed from my wife and family and church and the medical community, and now I'm healthy again, ready to help others. The crisis itself, in many ways, dictates the response. Our current COVID-19 crisis is touching our lives in many areas. We should be planning how to get the food we need, learning where the best and most accurate information comes from, and here's a hint, it's not Facebook. Arranging help with things we can't do on our own, working out the best daily routine that keeps us from boredom. Almost every aspect of our lives can use an extra dose of planning in these current uncertain times. To wrap up for today, in every crisis, large or small, from the common cold to COVID-19, we need to pray, which gets us off to a good start, and then we need to plan. And our God in heaven, who hears our prayers and guides our plans when we let him, is faithful and will help us when we are in crisis. Tomorrow we will look at and talk about what we do when it seems that our prayers are not heard and our plans aren't working, because that too is part of facing crisis. Have a great day, wash your hands, stay healthy, and God bless you.